quite blustery here. The gusts have been going crazy, and I always am very grateful that I live out in the middle of a meadow, because the people in the trees, it sounds like a train going through, and it's, having lived in the trees before, it's hard to sleep wondering if that tree is coming down on you. So I'm enjoying it. We're having a little bit of sunshine with all that blustery wind, but it feels like a beehive day. So I'm all ready. I've got my glass of water. We are vegan, gluten-free in this household. So I've got my popcorn and my rice crackers. I was at a friend's house yesterday, and she's got wheat thins in her sewing room. So we all have to have sustenance to take us through. And of course, because I have my buddy up here, I have dog treats. And he does not go far from the cutting table because they're stored under the cutting table. But I thought I would share with you what I'm up to, and we'll do a wool prepping tutorial today. I was blown away when I went to visit my sister, of which I'm visiting her again next week. But her girlfriend is quite the sewing artist, and she has a business. It's called Michiko's Creations, and you can actually find her on Etsy. Her Etsy shop is, it's www.etsy.com, and then you do that /shop/suede shop, and then you look for Michiko's Creations. And she gave me a wonderful, and just so you know, she has been a vendor to Sue Spargo, so she knows all about us people. But here's this beautiful, it's like a rainbow of flannel suede that can be used for, purses or even wall hanging creations, needle cases. They're quite exquisite. And she also gave me a whole bag of cutouts of the suede. And so there's a flower basket in there, and snowflakes and flowers and leaves, and she has these cutouts on her Etsy shop. Just a lovely woman, absolutely lovely. And just to show you, probably 2 or 3 years ago, she made this absolutely gorgeous suede Kleenex tissue holder out of her suede, and it is just exquisite, and I cherish that. I actually feel like when I have a cold or something that I feel a little bit better having my Michiko Kleenex tissue. So let's see, what else are we up to here? I am feverishly stitching, doing a candle mat exchange with the group I belong to, and I miscounted, and so I have one more to create, so I've got to get that done. And I am so tickled with how they turned out. They're absolutely adorable. I wish I could show them to you, but just in case someone's peeking on my videos that will be receiving one, I don't want to give away the secret till I get the oohs and the ahs, So that's what I've been stitching. I have decided, since I am on countdown mode to the big Quilt Roadie trip, that I need to start prepping. And so I pulled a couple of things to prep, and we'll work together today on that. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is surviving the news cycle, and that we're heading into that holiday season where it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I know it will be heartbreaking for some of you, because the holidays always are. My parents' anniversary, bless their hearts, was December 23rd. So, I'm always thinking of them on that day. But I think, when we hang out together in the Bee Hive, that just always makes me happy. So let's get to prepping. So although I am not going to do it right now, just to let you know that I am never up here without a book on audio, an audio book. And so I am currently enjoying an audio book by Elizabeth Berg. And it's hysterical. I mean, I always need to break up my heavy books by a light-hearted read, and this one's about a class reunion, and it is funny. So I will, as soon as I'm done with you, I'm going to turn on my book. What I decided to do today was one of Stacy West from Buttermilk Basin, her monthly mats, and I bought the kit for this one because it is adorable. Of course, it has Bee Hive and bees, and this is the June Bee Skeep mat. And the kit, you can always guarantee that the wool you're going to get from Stacy is high quality, and the wool in here in the kit is enough for both of these mats, which I find extraordinary. I'm going to also be using my wool mat. I'm still not real keen on the odor of it when I'm using it, but boy does it steam well. So I'm going to be using that today. And the first step will be to trace my motifs and get ready. And you have to know, anyone who's ever taken a class from me knows this about me. I am going for the quickest way to get ready to stitch. And so I will show you my shortcuts. As you know, and I've said it again and again, I use Pellon SF101 on the back of my wool to give it a little bit of stability so it doesn't stretch so much when I'm stitching. And I save all the pieces because our products are spendy, and so I don't want to waste anything. So I save the pieces in this box, this little plastic box, that are left over, and I can use them on my smaller projects. And so this project is perfect for this. And I have this one long piece that got cut off from something. And what I'm going to do is, it says on the pattern to cut this little half circle on the fold line. Now you can see through this SF101 pretty good. Of course I need my glasses too. And so I folded the SF101 with the sticky side together and made a fold line. And I can see through here the half circle. So I'm going to trace that line. So I've got my half circle there, and let's see, will this other circle fit there? No. So now I am going to cut it out. It's already on the fold line. So here I go. Now if you were a stitcher who didn't want to live on the edge, you could trace that circle on a fold line on a piece of freezer paper and then cut the freezer paper out and then put it on here and trace it. But I'm here to tell you I want to alleviate some steps. And so now I have my SF-101 cut in the shape that I need. And the wool that it needs to fit on that came in the kit is right here. And see, there's enough wool there for the base of the circle project that is included in this kit. So I'm going to be doing that also, tracing that onto the SF-101. Now on this particular one, I don't have to cut exactly on the line because it's not on the fold. I'm just going to rough cut it and slap it on my wool. Well, not slap it, but you know, press it onto the wool. I would never slap my wool. Okay. I need to behave in the beehive. And so I still have this. Now I'm going to cut this off because I won't use this piece and I'm going to throw that away. But I still have this scrap piece left for some other project. So I'm going to fold that up and put it in my little plastic bucket. So I don't have to cut up my bolt yet. And then we're going to go over and fuse this SF-101 to the wool. Waiting for my iron to heat up. Come on, you can do it. This is my Panasonic cordless iron, which I love, and I especially love it in the camper because I can plug it in and the base stays close to the plug and I can use the iron all over. You just have to remember not to set your iron down like you normally do, but to keep putting it back on the dock so it keeps recharging. It's almost there. I also, while we're waiting, I'm walking around here, the motifs for both of these is this cute little bee skeep, and I traced it onto a scrap piece of my fusible, and I love this fusible. It's, sorry for walking around on you, but it comes in a roll and it's soft fuse premium. You'll see that heart. And I save all the scraps for that because it can be quite spendy also. And I use up those scraps. Ooh, we're ready. We're ready. Okay, so here we go. The thing about this wool mat is it pulls the heat all the way through to the front side, so that's great. So here we go, and I got my little circle. I have to make sure that that bumpy side of the SF-101 is against the wool and the smooth side is against the iron, because that's the fusible side. And then I always come and do the back side or the front side. Back on the dock. Now I'm going to cut this out. And I save all these pieces of wool in a little bucket, color coordinated, for other projects because I mix up wool. Even if I get a kit, I mix it up. And this is more like a candle mat because it is got the motif on one side, and then you can either set your cup or your candle or a little arrangement of some kind on the other side. So now I'm just going to cut on the line this circle. Might as well prep them both since the kit's for both of them. And then I'll put them with the pattern into an envelope and put it in the camper for a future project when I'm on the road, because I am blessed in that I can stitch while G is driving. I have not perfected stitching and driving though. That still eludes me. Okay, now I got my little circle. So this is what I'm talking about. I kind of cut off, if I've left any fusible or anything on the wool, I just cut that off and throw that away. But all of these scraps go into a color coordinated little bin with wool, because I can use this. This could be used for a small crow in a project, or so that's good. That's a nice piece. And here we're going. So these pieces going into the bin. So on this little scrap of fusible, I've been tracing the motifs. Now I know that I have looked at the picture and it is just adorable. And just looking at it, I know that I am not going to do a fusible bee, that I will stitch a bee a la Sue Spargo. So I am not going to trace that bee, but everything else, the beehive, the little platform, the flowers and the leaves, I have traced onto this scrap piece of fusible. And I'm thinking that I can actually, yep, I can fit them both on there, which for both mats on this one scrap piece. So I don't even have to break open my new roll. I'm tracing on this soft fuse on the smooth side, and with the rough side down. Platform, what we need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaves, and they all look basically the same. So 2, 8. So you see how I'm not sure you can see that, but I'm mushing everything in around using every square inch of this. Need another door. Couple more flowers. I kind of, when I'm tracing leaves, I kind of bunch them together so they'll fit on to the wool that came in the kit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And one more little. So boy, both those mats fit on this scrap piece. My next step is, especially when I'm, buying a kit, I lay out the wool that is provided, because surprisingly sometimes I change it out. I have that whole big scrap, and this is where this is the limits of my creativity. I might try to be a little creative with the color. or I might make it more personalized. You know, like you could stitch on this hive your family name or something like that. So now this big piece here is for the back of the entire project to frame it, and then this is for the back. So these are set aside for later. But she has these pieces here for the motifs. So I'm kind of a careful cutter because I want to save as much wool as I can for my scrap bucket. So there's a stand. I'm not cutting on the lines that I've drawn. I am just cutting roughly around the design. So, you know, there's a rough cut of the stand. And so I'm going to fit that on there. And here's where I do some funny decision making. So here's the piece of wool that she gave you. And you lay the two pieces on and you fuse them on there. Not everyone fuses wool, by the way. A lot of people pin their pieces, cut them out and pin them, and don't use fusible. But I'm a fusible girl. But as I will show you, on this particular piece, I'm laying it out like this because I realize if I lay it this way, I can save a big chunk of brown for some future project. So I'm constantly looking at things on how I can lay them out on the wool and save the most wool. So then if I were to press that, the rough side is down against the wool, the smooth side is against your iron, and then I always steam it from the back side too. And with all these fusible products, I use steam even when they don't say don't use steam. I use steam and I haven't had any problems. But it just sticks better. There's my little stand. So I opted to not use the wool for the Bee Hive that was provided in the kit, although it's lovely, and I know I'll use it for something else, because I had a scrap of this, which I just really loved. So we're going to change it up just a bit. And now I'm cutting out the rest of my motifs, and then we'll lay them out. They're all cut out. The leaves are tiny, but I know it's going to be just so adorable. So now it's time to lay out the project. And the way I do this is I'm going to start with the long one, and I keep the pattern close by, and everything is on one side of this because this is going to be like a, you know, for a cup or a candle, so you need one flat side that doesn't have the design. You begin by taking the backing off. You peel that paper off, leaving the sticky part on the wool. And this is where you have to be somewhat alert. No drinking at this part, because you want that side of the wool that has the fusible to be against your background. And you just kind of look at the picture and see how they laid it out. I'm going to peel the backing off for all of this. Every so often you get like a fusible product that has been exposed to the air too much, and it's like the fusible comes off with the paper. No use fighting that. Just get rid of it. So here we go. Arranging my little beehive there. I'll show it to you after I fuse it. So when it comes to the leaves and the flowers, you just kind of have to place them where you think you're going to embroider the vine. Or if you wanted to, you can embroider the vine first, but I tend to be one that has to just go for it. So I'm kind of guessing by looking at the picture. Now see, this one feels like the fusible didn't come off of it. Let's see here. So I'm going to re-iron it. Let's see if I can get that paper off of there. These tiny pieces are like, oh my gosh. There we go. There we go. That looks like it's kind of up there. And here's where I'm going to just eyeball where I think I might want that vine, and I'll just embroider the vine to the leaves. Because remember what I said? It's primitive. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I've laid it out exactly like I wanted, and now I am going to do the final fusing. And the way I'm going to do that, I make sure my iron is hot. I'm going to fuse from one side, then flip it over and go to the other side. Boy, it is windy outside. The leaves are flying. It's crazy. I'm going to give it a good steam. because I want those leaves to stay on there. But you know, if the leaves start to, this is the way I do things. If I see one of the motifs starting to lift, that's the one I stitch next. But if I don't have time and it looks like, oh my God, they're all starting to come up, I will staple them right in the center. So now I'm going to flip that over and steam it from this side. And now it's ready for stitching. See that? That one's ready for stitching. And then eventually it'll be framed by this beautiful red fabric and then backed by the other one. So now I'm going to do the other one, the little round one. So if I hadn't been talking to you guys, it would take me 20 minutes probably to fuse both of these, get them prepped and fused. It doesn't take a long time. And then you have a project to stitch, whether you're in a waiting area or camping, at family Thanksgiving, when everyone's watching the football game. My big old fingers in these tiny leaves. You have to really pay attention that you're putting the leaves down with the fusible side down, because it is easy to get them flipped over. Can you hear that wind? We have a lot of construction around us, and this is the kind of weather that makes the porta potties fly over. Okay, I got it right where I want it. Here we go. Oh, this is fun. So now we have 2 projects ready for stitching. And it's as simple as that. So then once I stitch this all down and do the embroidery and embellish it a little bit, then next I will be putting it on the background and then doing a blanket stitch around the edge. And that's all it takes. Just a little bit of time and a lot of fun. And these little projects like this are so fun and make great gifts. So I hope you didn't get too bored with that prepping, for those of you that already know all of it. But I've been asked to do another one on prepping my wool. I don't follow the rules, but I sure do have fun. Thanks for hanging out in the Bee Hive with me. Have a great day. Be safe out there. And we'll see you soon.